His so-called One Big Beautiful Bill, which includes a provision that limits gamblers' ability to deduct their losses on their tax returns. The change drops the deduction from 100% to 90%, so gamblers will pay taxes on money they didn't actually win. Nevada Representative Dina Titus has introduced the Fair Bet Act to try to reverse this change, arguing that it will harm the domestic gaming industry and push players to illegal offshore platforms. Joining us now to break down the legal and economic implications, attorney Matt Hoffmann with Battle-Born Injury Lawyers. Matthew, as always, thank you so much for joining us. Let's go ahead and start with the basics here. Can you explain how this tax change works and why the gambling industry is so concerned about what might happen if this stays the same?
Yeah, so what happened is that the House reconciliation bill went to the Senate. And somehow, at one point, a senator from Idaho, Senator Crapo, inserted a provision that would lower the write-off of gambling losses from 100% to 90%. And I don't know if Senator Crapo has a problem with gambling or what have you, or religious objection, et cetera, but it somehow got through. People clearly didn't know what they were voting for. And so it gets through. And what this means in practical terms is, let's say you take a professional gambler and they have $10 million in gambling winnings, but they also have $10 million in gambling losses. Well, that means on the year they didn't make any money. But under this, if the 90% threshold holds, they have to pay taxes on $1 million in gambling winnings, even though they didn't win anything. They lost, or broke even. So that's catastrophic from a tax perspective and from a Nevada perspective in, legal gambling. Why would you gamble here is the problem. And that's what, good for Senator Titus for addressing this immediately and getting this legislation out now, because this has to get passed before January.
Yeah, and she has made that argument that she believes that this will really hurt us here and actually push gamblers to unregulated offshore platforms. It's not like they're going to just stop gambling all of a sudden. And so let's talk about the likelihood of this actually passing. Are you thinking that maybe it will pass? Because there was so much in this spending bill. In fact, it was more than 900 pages long worth of things in that bill. So the chances of something slipping through like this possibly, that's a reality.
Yeah, and that's the problem with these reconciliation bills, because they're a simple majority vote. In this one, the Senate, it passed it with J.D. Vance as the vice president as the tiebreaker. Whereas this legislation that Congresswoman Titus is putting out, that's going to have to get past the filibuster. So it has to be bipartisan. And so if it passes along those lines, then yes, it can supersede this one single issue from the reconciliation bill. I think it will pass. I think that a lot of people have egg on their face with people questioning why did you allow this to happen? And the reality is that a lot of professional gamblers could literally just leave the country. You can go to the UK or the Caribbean, become a citizen, and there is no tax on gambling winnings. But in the US, because of the 100% write-off for losses, it's good enough that people stay here, and there's a lot more opportunity. So I think that this is going to pass. But like I said, kind of an embarrassment that it got through in the first place, especially with President Trump's ties to some pretty high-level people here in Nevada, like the Adelson family, Dana White, what have you.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, he has his own property here as well that bears his name. Exactly. And so you would think that maybe he would want to protect that. I know we've been talking about professional gamblers, but could this have any implications just for regular folks who like to gamble on a regular basis? Some people come here every month, or sometimes, a couple times a year every year.
Yeah, and if you go to a sports book, let's say, and you want to bet on some football or March Madness, and you have big winnings, those winnings get reported to the IRS because it's legal gambling through a casino. Why would you do that now if you can get taxed on it and you can't write off your losses, which are also tracked? You might see people trying to go towards the black market, to illegal gambling, which that's what we've been trying to get away from for so long, and to legalize gambling, because then you can control it and eliminate fraud and fixing games and things like that. So the last thing you want to do is to give an incentive to have people start betting on the black market. That's not what we want. And so I think this will pass, and good for Dina Titus for getting this put out there right now.
All right, thanks so much as always for breaking down the law for us, Matt. And if you have any legal questions that you want Matt to answer, please email us at breakingdownthelaw@news3lv.com.